In the year 2026, humanity is no longer being governed by traditional laws or elected governments, but by a microscopic chemical molecule that has been hijacked by a glowing rectangle in your pocket. You are living in a state of dopamine poverty, a devastating condition of the modern soul where you have access to everything but feel absolutely nothing. You wake up, and before your lungs have even taken their first full breath of morning air, you have already consumed enough artificial stimulation to burn out a critical neural circuit. You are scrolling through a bottomless, digital void, chasing a ghost of satisfaction that is designed to never arrive. This is Dr. Thorne, and today, we are going to dismantle the complex mechanics of your exhaustion and your apathy. We are going to talk about the dopamine sovereign. We are going to explore how your brain's sacred reward system has been weaponized into a digital leash, and more importantly, how you can shatter that leash to reclaim your absolute ability to feel, to focus, and to conquer. You are not lazy, you are chemically overstimulated, biologically depleted, and systematically controlled. You must understand that dopamine was never meant to be about pleasure or happiness. In the evolutionary history of our species, it was designed for one thing: the pursuit. It was the ancient, driving chemical that pushed our ancestors to hunt across vast, unforgiving landscapes, to explore the unknown horizons, and to survive against impossible biological odds. It was the spark of anticipation, the neurochemical drive to finish a difficult, life-saving task. But in 2026, the architects of the digital age have mastered the dark art of slot machine psychology. They have taken that sacred human pursuit and turned it into a cheap, endless, and hollow stream of micro-rewards. Every like, every notification, every infinite scroll is a hit of low-grade dopamine that completely bypasses your rational prefrontal cortex and targets the most primitive, reptilian parts of your brain. You are being transformed into a digital rodent in a global laboratory cage, pressing a glass button for a sugar pellet that no longer even tastes sweet. Your brain's receptors are literally retreating into the neural walls to hide from the constant flood of noise. This is why nothing feels exciting anymore. You have fried your biological sensors, and the vibrant world has turned into a flat, gray static. The greatest casualty of this ongoing chemical warfare is your fundamental ability to be alone with your own thoughts. We have reached a terrifying point in 2026 where the average human being would literally rather receive a painful electric shock than sit quietly in a room for 10 minutes without a device. This is dopamine exhaustion. Because your baseline for stimulation has been pushed to an unnatural height, reality itself has become boring, slow, and unbearable. You can't read a profound book, you can't sustain a deep conversation, and you can't focus on a complex professional task because your brain is constantly screaming for the next high-speed, low-effort hit. Your attention, your most valuable asset, has been fragmented into 1,000 jagged pieces and sold to the highest bidder in the global attention economy. You are no longer the customer, you are the product being consumed. In my 2026 Sovereign Protocol, we call for a neural fast. You must regain the capacity for boredom. Boredom is not a void to be filled, it is the silent, fertile space where creativity, deep analytical thought, and true biological repair actually take place. If you cannot tolerate the silence of your own mind, you can never truly possess yourself. Think of your focus as a high-performance engine. In the modern world, you are redlining that engine 24 hours a day while the car is still in park. You are burning through your limited neural currency on things that have zero impact on your legacy, celebrity gossip, manufactured outrage, and the curated, fake lives of strangers. By the time you need to focus on your own business, your own health, or your own family, the tank is bone dry. You are operating on fumes and wondering why you feel like a failure. This is not a lack of willpower, it is a total exhaustion of your metabolic resources. Your brain uses 20% of your body's total energy, and you are wasting it on digital junk food. To become a dopamine sovereign, you must learn to protect your focus like a king protects his borders from an invading army. What is happening deep inside your skull is a biological process called downregulation. When you flood your nervous system with high-intensity, artificial dopamine, whether it's from endless screens, processed sugars, or synthetic stimulants, your brain tries to protect its delicate circuitry from damage. It does this by physically reducing the number of available dopamine receptors. It's like trying to listen to delicate classical music in a room where the industrial speakers are so loud they are literally blowing out your eardrums. Eventually, your brain just turns the internal volume down to zero to survive the assault. This is the reason why, in the year 2026, we are seeing a global epidemic of anhedonia, the biological inability to feel pleasure from the simple, real aspects of life. The sunset isn't bright enough for you anymore, the real food isn't tasty enough, and your actual life achievements don't feel significant because the mountain has crumbled underneath your feet. This neural downregulation has profound and devastating effects on your character and your destiny. It slowly erodes your capacity for delayed gratification, the single most important trait that defines human success in civilization. When you can get a dopamine hit in half a second by swiping a thumb across a screen, your brain loses the structural patience required to build something truly great over a period of years. You become a creature of the now, a hollow shell unable to plan for or execute a future. This is the biological foundation of what people call burnout. You aren't tired of the work itself, you are tired of the constant, unrewarding seeking. You are chasing a peak that no longer exists. To reset this, we must implement a neural absolute fast. We must cut the supply line of artificial stimulation immediately and entirely. We must lower the stimulation levels so drastically that the brain is forced to grow those receptors back out of sheer necessity. We must make the mundane feel magnificent again. This is not a punishment, it is a full restoration of your original human hardware. The 2026 Sovereign Protocol is not a suggestion, it is a survival requirement for the modern man. It begins with the first hour rule. For the first 60 minutes of your waking life, you do not touch a digital screen. No news, no mail, no social validation, and no dopamine triggers. You must allow your brain to settle into its natural, morning baseline. You must win the very first battle of the day against the digital invaders that want to colonize your mind. This is followed by deep work intervals, 90-minute blocks of absolute, uncompromising isolation from all notifications. You are retraining your brain to sustain intense effort without the promise of an immediate, cheap reward. This is how you build the neural calluses required for high-level success. In this protocol, the effort itself must become the reward. When you find joy in the struggle of a difficult task, you have officially won the game. You are no longer a slave to the external result, you are the undisputed master of your internal process. We must also address your digital environment with surgical ruthlessness. Your environment is your destiny. If your phone is the last thing you see before you sleep and the first thing you see when you wake, you are not a free man, you are a puppet on a digital string. In the year 2026, the dopamine sovereign creates analog sanctuaries, physical spaces in the home where no digital signals, no screens, and no vibrating devices are ever allowed to enter. These are sacred zones for reading, for deep contemplation, and for genuine human connection. By physically separating your body from the source of your addiction, you give your prefrontal cortex the breathing room it desperately needs to reassert its authority over your primitive, impulsive urges. You are rebuilding the natural hierarchy of your mind. You are putting the king back on the throne where he belongs, and you are putting the court jesters and the distractions back in the dungeon. Ultimately, reclaiming your dopamine is about much more than health, it is about reclaiming your reality. The digital world is merely a map, and a poorly drawn one at that, but it is not the territory. It is a flickering shadow of life, not life itself. When you finally break the heavy chains of digital addiction, you will discover that the physical world is more vibrant, more challenging, and infinitely more rewarding than any virtual experience could ever hope to be. You will find that you suddenly have the latent energy to pursue meaningful, long-term goals. You will find the patience to endure the hardships of life and the clarity to see the world as it truly exists, not as an algorithm wants you to see it. Dr. Thorne is not asking you to become a monk or to live in a cave. I am asking you to become a man who is in absolute command of his own biological urges. I am asking you to stop being a passive consumer of other people's dreams and start being the relentless architect of your own. As we conclude this 28th briefing, remember that every single time you resist a digital distraction, you are strengthening your neural sovereignty. Every time you choose the difficult, analog path over the easy, digital scroll, you are taking a piece of your soul back from the machine. The world of 2026 will continue to try and distract you, to sedate you, and to keep you small and manageable. But you have the protocol now. You have the knowledge of your own biology. And you have the power to choose. Stop chasing the ghost of a hit. Start building a legacy that will outlast the screens. This is Dr. Thorne. The throne of your mind is vacant no longer. Stay sharp, stay focused, and above all, stay unchained from the machine that wants your soul. I will see you in the next briefing.